Shalom, Kol Halo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekaha, Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And I was watching quite a few videos today, and I picked these three to do a commentary to or add scripture to. And these are very pertinent things that are all speeding us toward the Third World War, which is the third woe written in the Bible. You can see the name of the video at the bottom of the screen. Every video that I put up, I always try to put the name of the video at the bottom of the screen so that you can see it. You can go to it for yourself and watch it in its entirety. But leading up to this Third World War, and the Third World War, which has already begun, will not go full blown until the implementation of the MOTB, which is closer at hand every day, every second that goes by, especially with all the the other nations, dropping the dollar, selling back the debt that they bought, getting rid of their stocks and their treasury. I'm trying to, the name escapes me right now. I can't think of it. But basically, the biggest holder of American debt was China. All right, Japan didn't sell off, and Japan is in shambles as a result of it. All right, we're also gonna in these videos are also gonna show you the separation that's going on with the United States, the separation which is going on within the EU and NATO, and the separation that's going on within the Edomite race, totally worldwide, here and abroad. And a house divided cannot stand. As a matter of fact, let's get that first. And it's that scripture comes out every week. Damn, everybody's bringing it out because that's the time that we're in, right? This is Mark 3 and verse 23, and it reads, "And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, How can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand." And so this is not only talking about nations and countries, we're also talking about, this has dual meaning. Remember the duplicity, the multi-levels of the scriptures. This is also talking about the Edomite race, all right? Because when the house of Israel divided, the northern versus the southern kingdom, when they divided, we fell. All right, we didn't last long without being together. All right, so the Lord's letting you know. Romans 15:4, things that are written aforetime are written for our understanding. All right, and if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. Let me close this door. It's okay, be quiet. All right, Salakia. Okay, so without any further ado, Clayton Morris of Redacted.
World War III might look like? Well, newsflash, it's about to look a whole lot different than what we expect. Forget missiles and tanks. I mean, sure, that'll be there, but the real battlefield is much less flashy. And CNN is going to be pissed that they can't send reporters to the war zone so they can wear those little green helmets and show off explosions.
We want to roll the video right before he was supposed to go on the air.
Oh, I'd say... No, this war has already started in the shadows, over resources, over commodities, and it's hitting much closer to home in a big way right now. We'll get there in a minute, but first, NATO, led by the United States and Britain, are preparing for direct war with Russia, and some NATO members don't want to have anything to do with it. Those aren't my words. Those are the words of Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban this weekend, a NATO member who knows exactly what NATO is up to. A hot war is coming, and he doesn't want his men being killed in a fool's errand. According to the Prime Minister, he says there are alarming similarities right now between what is being said and prepared right before the start of World War I and World War II, and he wants out of it. For a NATO Prime Minister to say this is a huge deal, guys. Orban says NATO was created with the purpose of defending member states against aggressors, not waging wars outside of its territory. So what are these worrying developments this weekend? Well, according to the New York Times, it's this. Antony Blinken wants Ukraine to use long-range U.S. weapons to attack deep inside of Russia. Direct war. I wonder where Blinken got that idea. Could it be from Satan herself, Victoria Nuland, this week, who essentially demanded that the U.S. help Ukraine attack Russia?
They need to be able to stop these Russian attacks that are coming from bases inside Russia. So I think there's also a question of whether we, the United States and our allies, ought to give them more help in hitting Russian bases, which heretofore we've not been willing to do.
Oh, we're just getting started, because among the other bombshell nuggets in this report, the Biden administration is now actively discussing putting boots on the ground in Ukraine to train Ukrainian soldiers. Quote, the United States is now considering training Ukrainian troops inside the country rather than sending them to training grounds in Germany. That would require putting American personnel in Ukraine, something that Mr. Biden has prohibited until now.
So when the war goes full blown, you'll already have soldiers over there. It's beyond obvious. So it's all leading up. This is Jeremiah 31:8. Behold, I will bring them from the north country, that being America, and gather them from the coasts of the earth, and with them and blind and the lame and the woman with the child and her that travaileth with the child together, a great company shall return thither. So basically the Lord's going to send them all over to that part of the world. The military here in America, all right, they're going to get deployed and they're going to go over there and they're never coming back. And it's as simple as that. All right, he's going to cause them to die over there. Matter of fact, it says, hear the word of Yahweh, O ye nations. Oh, I skipped one. Let me start at verse 9. They shall come, Jeremiah 31:9. They shall come with weeping and with supplication will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of the waters and a straight way wherein they shall not stumble. For I am a father, Salakia. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Northern and southern kingdom, man. All right. Hear the word of Yahweh, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattereth Israel, I will gather him and keep him as a shepherd doth his flock. For Yahweh has redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger. All right. So look, man, there is no, through all of this, Israel is being redeemed and gathered up from the four corners of the earth, the elect of Israel, all right, that are among the heathen that look like the heathen, all right, and we're being gathered. We're going to be gathered up, and then the Lord is going to annihilate, Esau, Edom, the NATO forces and the American forces, and they're all being drawn out by the least of the flock, because we're going to get to that too. But here we go.
He's breaking a lot of his promises. Long-range weapons, boots on the ground. The New York Times also exposed how Britain is already doing it. No debate. In the suicidal country of Britain, they're already doing it. Quote, Britain, usually in lockstep with Washington on war strategy, has quietly lifted its own restrictions so that its Storm Shadow cruise systems can be used to target Russia more broadly. Yes, deep inside of Russia. Britain has lost its mind. They want war with Russia so badly they can taste it. This week, they invited Ukrainian neo-Nazi Azov battalion members to UK's parliament to give them a standing ovation. Didn't they learn from Canada when they invited a Nazi to take part in a celebration and give him a standing ovation? But no, Britain didn't. In fact, Boris Johnson was even on hand to take some photos with the neo-Nazis.
Wow.
Here he is holding an Azov banner featuring the wolf's angle symbol, which was, of course, once used by the Nazi Waffen SS division in World War II.
And the same people and the same symbol are being funded and aided by the Israelis, who every time they're called out about the things that they do, they start screaming about, what happened in the Holocaust and World War II, and anti, semantics this and anti-semantics that. But yet, they are supporting the Azov battalion, who are straight up Nazis. All right. And they're not showing the normal symbol, the trident symbol. All right. You see that symbol all over Ukrainian Village here in Chicago, and I've seen it on cars and trucks and necklaces and shirts, sweatshirts. They represent hard, and that's straight up Nazism. All right. But it's being supported by the Israelis. I thought they hated Nazis. Something's not right here. Something's something's a little bit strange. Well, I tell you, when you understand and know history, the people in the land of Israel, well, they came from those parts where these people are. So there's some weird ties to there that is not really being shared. But that area of Kiev and Ukraine, that was all the Khazarian Empire. All right, and you can't speak about the Khazars. No, that's a big no-no. Okay. So let's go on to the next one, man. My man Dabu7. And this is his new channel, Surviving the End Times.
What's going on, guys? Dabu7 here, checking back in with you. And I'd say that it's just about game time here. I suggest that people take this stuff serious. We've talked about what could potentially happen here for a lot of years, but it looks like some critical stuff's going down. If you don't know, we have an incident that just took place outside of Fort Liberty, former Fort Bragg in North Carolina, where we have 2 illegal migrants that were spying on a Special Forces colonel, snapping photos of his family and his kids.
Damn.
And he caught them. There was a confrontation. He shot and he killed one of them.
Whoa.
And this is a big deal because other colonels, other people are going on like Fox News, and they're saying that this is a huge threat. They're in here. They're spying on our top level generals at their homes here in this country. And now they've been engaged. They go on to say.
And I just saw another video, which I'll probably do a response to if I can find it. I got a whole list of videos I want to do responses to, where the guy was talking about he was just at the border as of lately, and there's no women and children at all, and there's not even people from the inhabitants of South America. All the people that are coming across are from the countries that America's actually at war with, or at odds with, like China, coming from Western Asia that they fraudulently call the Middle East. The Middle East is Western Asia, always has been. They came up with that term Middle East so they can try to create a racial narrative to protect the lies that they've created surrounding the land of Israel. But yeah, so they've been coming from different parts of Western Asian Arabs, from countries that are at odds with America. So take all that into consideration, what he's talking about right now. And it's like they want this chaos to happen. As a matter of fact, this is Ecclesiastes 10:8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So they're really trying to get order out of chaos so that they can get more resources and more control. And they think they're going to be able to control this chaos, and they're not. It's all going to spiral out of control.
That here in this country, these illegal migrants are showing up at our military facilities 2 to 3 times a week.
Damn.
A week. That brazen. Well, everyone's just ignoring it, right?
Nobody in the mainstream media is talking about this. And Dabu7, he's one of these guys who they want to silence, And I believe that this dude is one of them scattered jakes that I'm talking about. I believe this guy really is, that's neither here nor there, but, he just don't have the spirit of the average. He don't have a spirit of an Edomite. I think this dude is Jake. And, but nevertheless, they want to shut him up along with a whole list of others. And most importantly, they want to shut us up, the prophets, the men of the Lord.
2 or 3 times a week they're showing up at our military bases and they're getting turned away. Now, the ones that are showing up at the bases are showing up acting like they're trying to document for some kind of whatever excuse they give. They do have passports, the ones that show up there, and they seem to be the forward unit of this invasion. Of course, we know there's millions in here at this point. They are also stated that they are rolling up on our bases with drones 2 to 3 times a week. Incursions. So our bases are getting infiltrated by drones, and these dudes are rolling up on them in packs. And they're rolling up on our colonels at their homes, spying on them. Hello? How much more?
Well, that's heavy, man. Because, once your military leaders, man, your colonels and your generals, your high-ranking officers, their safety is being compromised. They want to. It looks like they're targeting the leadership. So this is serious, and if these men were to die, they could clearly blame this on the current, president and his administration for allowing these people to. This is nuts, man. This is a crazy ass story. People don't understand how detrimental, how serious this story is, man. All right, but there's no wisdom left in teaming, man. This man is showing you over and over again that he's all about depopulation, death, and that he's not fit to rule. Let's go to the next video. Cornel West. Netanyahu, he is the Trump of Israel.
Netanyahu, he's the Trump of Israel. Just like Trump is the Netanyahu of America. They're both consistent gangsters.
Dr. Cornel West is one of America's most prominent scholars and activists. He's written over a dozen books and taught at some of the country's most prestigious universities. And now he's running for president as an independent, and he joins us to talk Gaza, Biden, and the US elections. Dr. Cornel West, thank you so much for joining us on Real Talk Online.
No, thank you, my dear brother. Appreciate the coming conversation.
How do you define the U.S. government's Gaza policy currently?
It reminds me in many ways of Vietnam in the times of Martin Luther King Jr., Stokely Carmichael, and Diane Nash, that Gaza is a historic turning point in the American empire.
A historic turning point, you're saying?
Wow.
That's right. Historic, pivotal point in the history of the American empire.
I agree with him because this October thing on 7th, that the story has more holes in it than Swiss cheese. As a matter of fact, it has just as many holes in it as the official narrative of 9/11. It makes absolutely no sense. All right, and you got different rabbis. I forget his name. I'm actually going to do a lesson on it. But you got a couple different rabbis and a couple different former IDF soldiers, high-ranking officials that are all saying that this had to be an inside job to get to what they. So they allowed this to happen so that they could, have an excuse to do what they're doing. All right, and that information is out there, but they're suppressing it. But eventually, that information will be exposed like everything else.
Very much like the Algerian War with the French Empire between 1954 and 62. Very much like the Suez Canal in 1956 vis-a-vis the British Empire. The American empire is in the process of deep decline and decay. And what Gaza does is rip the veil and reveal an American criminality, an American hypocrisy, an American immorality that's been parading as this force for democracy and force for freedom around the world.
See, what he's not really admitting or acknowledging that is what democracy does. Everything he just said, it parades as this freedom thing. Democracy is an oppressing, murderous operation that takes away, that robs and steals and takes away resources of other and land of other people. Point blank, period.
Now, of course, so many brothers and sisters, especially in the global South, have seen this before, given all of the U.S. supports of the coups. We've seen it in Iran, we've seen it in Guatemala, we've seen it in Grenada, we've seen it in so many other places, overthrowing democratic government.
Yep.
But the whole world now sees in real time immeasurable, indescribable suffering of our precious Palestinian brothers and sisters, with genocidal assaults, with ethnic cleansing, and the apartheid conditions, so that Israel, as a satellite of the American empire, becomes the mediating force to reveal to the world the American criminality. And of course, it's also Israeli criminality.
Absolutely. And so what America does, and you know, they try to send over aid to hide the fact that they've supported this criminality. They supported this genocide, you know, this murder, this land theft, this colonization. All right. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and point is in 17, but I'm gonna start at 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. Here we come with this aid after we've gave these people the means to shoot, bomb, and blow up and destroy your homes, kill your wife, your women, your children, your fathers, your cousin, take your land, your house, your home. Though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. All right. And quite frankly, the whole world sees this situation for what it is. Let's let them speak a little bit more.
But for the most part, it could not proceed without American money, without American bombs, without American military support, and without American cover at the United Nations.
Well, if I bring it to what's happening in the political climate today on the U.S. front, recently when Kamala Harris was asked if, you know, U.S. aid to Israel would be used as leverage, she said we mustn't conflate between the Israeli people and the Israeli government, which sends a message that, you know, that the U.S. wouldn't use aid as some sort of leverage. How do you see that?
Well, it's not even a question of the aid or not. Just look at how morally bankrupt the U.S. policy is in terms of creating a port on the one hand, and you're providing billions and billions of dollars to facilitate and enable the genocide on the other.
Exactly.
Why? Because you won't confront the right-wing Jewish elites who are themselves making the decision to pursue the genocide, but America creates a condition for that pursuit. And so Kamala Harris and the others would have to acknowledge, and I've said this on many occasions, their particular policy makes them war criminals.
And this is why this man will never be allowed to become president. Because if I'm not mistaken, no, he may have spoken about running before, but he's definitely going to run this time. He's going to be in the race, and they're not going to put an actual Jake. You know, Obama was a Hamite. He wasn't an Israelite. He was a Hamite. All right. So they're not going to actually put, you know, he said it, you know, when he talked about his wife, Michael, he said, you know, that, you know, when he was at the port where the slaves came through, he said, that's where Michael's people, he didn't say his, that's where Michael's people were sold into slavery. All right. Because remember, the Hamites were selling Israelites, two different dark races of people. All right. And Barack Obama and Michelle Obama are, perfect examples of that, because they both be melanated, but they're two different, you know, races of people. All right. So, you know, to think Cornel West speaking this type of truth in a media that's ran and controlled by, you know, the anti-Semitic screamers, every time you tell the truth about them, you don't have to slander them, just because, you know what, when you're wrong, the truth hurts, and well, there it is. But this is 2 Ezra 6 and 27. And it reads, evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. All right. So, getting a Jake in the White House is not going to help. America cannot and will not be saved. The truth is out, and Babylon will fall. Call halal, Yahweh Bashem, Awashai Bashem, Rakak Wadash, Kwam Yasharala, Abad Babal.